Hi everybody. This tutorial is to help you learn how to use calipers. A set of calipers is a measurement tool similar to a ruler, but it allows you to take 3 different types of measurements. You would use it by sliding this piece along here and using this area to get your measurement. Okay? So the first type of measurement is an outer dimension. So for example, the spool, if I wanted to get the dimension of how wide this is, that's an outer dimension. And I would use this part of the set of calipers and close it around that dimension. So this is just showing you one way of using it. The second way is to get an inside or inner dimension using this area of the calipers. So if I wanted to see how wide this hole is, I would place this inside and slide along, and this area is used for an inner dimension inside of something. The third type of measurement is using the extension piece down here for measuring depth. If I wanted to know how far down this hole goes, I would use that extension piece to get a depth measurement, and I would read the measurement over in this area. Okay, so that's a quick introduction to show you that calipers allow you to take 3 different types of measurements, and that's what makes them a specialized measurement tool. Okay? On the set of calipers is essentially a ruler. And in the ruler area, there are customary units in inches, and there are metric units in millimeters. When you're using customary units for measuring length, there are 16 spaces between each whole number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, that would be half, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Sometimes with inches there might be 8, but the whole point is you count the spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So today when we're measuring in inches, we will be using 16ths, eighths, fourths, or half. The metric part is by 10 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, half, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 spaces. Whether it's millimeters or centimeters, metric is by base 10 or 10 spaces. So I'll be using decimal numbers rather than fractions. Whenever you're reading a measurement off of the set of calipers, you always use the measurement that lines up with the 0. Okay? Disregard these other numbers. You always use the measurement that lines up with the 0. Okay? So, to go along and practice your measurements from the worksheet, we're going to take different measurements of cube assemblies. Okay? We'll take the measurement of each cube assembly in both customary and metric units. And you'll record them on the sheet with the title Caliper Practice. So the first cube assembly looks sort of like an L shape, and it asks you to measure the depth. So for depth, we're going to use the extension piece here. So you will place the edge of the set of calipers, the top piece, and then extend this down, and when it hits the green piece, you stop, and we'll look at our measurement. For customary in inches, I'm just gonna slide it over so it's a little more clear, so it lines up perfectly. It's going to be 2 and this measurement, which will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2 and 6/16, which reduces to 2 and 3/8. 2 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6/16, which reduces to 2 and 3/8. For the metric, a little bit more straightforward, 60 millimeters. That's the same as 6 centimeters, but this would be 60 millimeters. So that's the depth of this one. The next cube assembly that it asks you to measure is 4 cubes in a row, and it asks for the outer dimension, so we would use this area. Slide the piece out and enclose it around the edges. Then we can slide this out and take a look. So it is 3 for customary in inches, 3 and 1, 2/16, 3 and 2/16, which is 3 and 1/8 inches, 3 and 2/16, which is 3 and 1/8 inches. In metric, it is just about 80 millimeters, or 8 centimeters. You always use the measurement that lines up with the zeros. So that was for this cube assembly. We did outer dimension. The next cube assembly that it asks us to measure is this guy here. And it asks for the inner dimension. So that'd be the inside of here. For inner dimension, we use this area. So you would put it down and extend these like this until they cannot go any further. So again, place it inside and extend that until they reach their limit. And for this measurement, for customary, I'm going to make it slightly more clear to have it line up. There we go. It's going to be 1 and this measurement. So we'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Actually, I'm going to make it go to here to 9, so we don't have to reduce. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1 and 9/16. 1 and 9/16. 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9/16. And then that's at just about 40, we'll call it 40 millimeters or 4 centimeters. 40 millimeters or 4 centimeters. That was for the inner dimension of this cube assembly. The last cube assembly that we need to do is 6 cubes in a row. And let's see if we can measure the outer dimension. The outer dimension of this. So for outer dimension, you use this area. And we have 4 inches. And this measurement here, sorry. So we'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 4 inches and 11/16. So 4 and 11/16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 4 and 11/16. And just make it a bit easier on ourselves, we'll call it 120 millimeters. 120 millimeters, which is 12 centimeters. So calipers are used in design to model something in a virtual or computer model, something that exists in real life that you want to get different measurements, and then you can model it on the computer or sketch it. So they're a very useful tool in design for measuring and modeling.